This is Radar for On the Radar Entertain Blog, coming to another edition of Weekly Baseball Observation Hot Stove Edition with all the moves. This is week number 5. First thing was the Richard Arenas signed back with the Blue Jays. Last year, the Blue Jays got rid of him and he went to Baltimore because they had a cluttered infield and outfield and they had too many position players, so they let him go. Now he's back at a minor league deal and he'll only get to play probably this year if there's injury. Cardinals signed Jose Rondon, the former Orioles and White Sox and Padres shortstop, as again his organizational depth, especially with Colton Wong becoming a free agent. Yes, they have Tommy Edman at second base and Matt Carpenter at third base, but a guy like Rodon would be a good backup just in case they need it. The Mariners then DFA'd Tim Lopes because, as I said many times over the years, that they had too many second basemen, including D. Gordon, who's now a free agent, and they were playing second baseman in the outfield, DHing some second basemen. G. Gordon was playing every position possible some days to get him in the lineup as a veteran. They DFA'd Tim Lopes, and Milwaukee picked him up. Milwaukee also has a gluttony of infielders with Luis Urias and Arcia and a bunch of other guys, so he may get playing time, but I don't really know how it's going to happen there. Then the Phillies have signed Neftali Feliz to a minor league deal. If you remember him, at one point he was the Rangers closer, great closer, all-star caliber, getting all these saves. The Rangers thought it was a great idea to stretch him out because he was a former starting pitcher in the minor league, and that where trouble didn't happen. He bounced around from team to team as reliever, independent, winter ball, overseas, all that stuff. And now he's back. Now, Philadelphia Phillies, their bullpen was disastrous. Dave Robertson deal did not work out because he was never healthy at Tommy John, all those things. And every other reliever they signed, like Neshek, Tommy Hunter, veterans, never stayed healthy. So their bullpen was just put together, just scrap heap. So if he has anything left in the tank, he's not that old. The Phillies could maybe get a reclamation project out of him, like a lot of teams did, like the Rockies did with Daniel Bard recently. And there's been many stories, again, with Greg Holland and Brad Boxberger. These guys used to be closers, teams trying to get reclamation progress, Trevor Rosenthal, all these things. So maybe, just maybe, he works out. If they don't make the playoffs and he's pitching well enough, flip him for a prospect. Walter Lockett, starting pitcher in the Major League. He's going to Korea. Good luck to him. Nationals signed Jeffrey Rodriguez to a minor league deal, the former Cleveland Indians starting pitcher, who will help the Nationals in case there are injuries because he's been a former Major League pitcher. And the Mariners signed Drew Steckenrider, a former Marlins relief pitcher. Mariners, they're a horrible team. So just signing veteran relievers who potentially bounce back, like I said with Feliz and the Phillies, they can flip them as well. Howie Kendrick announced his retirement. We all remember him as the greatest second baseman in Angels history. Every year he bat assists, same average. On base percentage, good amount of walks, played good defense, did a good amount of hits, home runs, RBIs, doubles, stolen bases. Like, he'd be just consistent every year, being an all-star. And even if he was an all-star, he played at an all-star level. And he was really good there. And then he went to the Dodgers, the Nationals, and the Phillies. And when he was on those Dodger teams, they played him in the outfield because they had no other choice with outfield injuries. But then when he started playing the outfield, he got injured and missed the whole time. Then again, he wasn't healthy with the Phillies either. Then he found a home with the Nationals. And with the Nationals, he played that role of, I could play second, I could play first, I could play third, or I could DH or pinch hit. And he played that really well into being the LCS MVP and helping them win in their first World Series ever. So he'll never have to buy a drink now in Washington. And the Angels will love him because he's the greatest second baseman they've ever had. So happy trails to Howie Kendrick. Now the Reds have signed Josh Osik to a minor league deal again. Flip him if you're not in contention, but worthwhile. He's an okay reliever. Nationals re-signed Javi Guerra because, again, he always seems to end up pitching for them at some point in the regular season because he's been with the team multiple times. That's just organizational depth. Nationals brought back Wellington Castillo, who opted out due to COVID-19, and with Kurt Suzuki being a free agent, they definitely need somebody who's been a major leaguer to be the backup to Yan Gomes, so that's a good move there because he's good enough, Castillo, to be a backup still. Giants signed John Brevia, who missed most of the time the last couple of years the Cardinals doing season-ending surgery. When he's healthy, he's been a pretty effective reliever for the Cardinals, so the Giants, again, reclamation project because he's not going to start right away. Cubs signed Matt Duffy, and if they do trade Chris Bryant, it'll work out for them that Matt Duffy could play third base. He could also fill in a short and first base. And if he doesn't start, he could always be a team as a backup who's been a starter in this league. It's always been about health, but he's just good as a backup. Cubs have picked up Philip Ervin off waivers. Again, Alvaro Moore is gone. They got rid of Schwarber. So Philip Irvin would be a useful fourth or fifth outfielder in the National League because of his speed. He's just never been the most consistent hitter. The Phillies have hired Sam Folder as their GM. They had Dombrowski's the president of operations. Folder was up for the Red Sox position that went to Alex Cora again. So it's good that he's going to continue working in front office for the Phillies and for the team, and he's just going to grow under Dombrowski as a GM, and it's good to see Sam Folder, former Team Israel, former Major League outfielder, get his chance. The White Sox signed Yoeleki Cespedes, the number one international prospect. He's an outfielder. He's like 23 years old. If he bats any way Yoenis Cespedes has done his whole entire career, that's a good for the White Sox because their lineup has a lot of talented hitters in it already, especially with Robert and Jimenez and Moncada and Anderson, so that's a good thing. Yes, they signed Adam Eden, but it's not like I think this guy's going to play right away because we have no idea what spring training is going to start, how the minor league season is going to go, so it's all question marks there. The Mets avoid arbitration with Thor. That was a no-brainer. I know he missed the whole entire season, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. The Padres signed Nick Burdi and Nick Ramirez, and again, Nick Burdi keeps having Tommy John season-ending surgery. He's lucky if he's healthy, but for the Padres, again, they just need some bullpen help, and Nick Ramirez pitched well enough for the Tigers before that it's just organizational depth. Rays have re-signed Kevin Smith after they signed Mike Zunino, so now they got their catching situation settled. When they had no catchers when the offseason started, now they got two. Red Sox signed Matt Andriese, who we all know was a combo pitcher in Tampa Bay and Arizona, and he pitched for the Angels last year. The Red Sox, this year, one of the reasons they were bad was, of course, they traded Mookie Betts and Chris Sale had Tommy John surgery. But again, they had no pitching, and some of the pitchers they did sign, like Colin McHugh, he opted out, and Eduardo Rodriguez had a heart condition due to relate to COVID, and Andrew Benintendi missed a lot of time. So they had a lot of injuries, but also they were missing a lot of talent. So they really need pitching. So it doesn't matter if Matt Andriese is going to be their fifth starter or if he's going to pitch multiple innings out of the bullpen. Their bullpen's just been horrendous too, so that helps them out. Tigers signed Dustin Garneau to a minor league deal. Again, he's a third string, backup catcher type of guy, and they don't really know who their catcher is. So Romine, the Yankees backup, who was their catcher, he was okay for them. They got Grayson Grinder and they got the Rogers prospect, but again, they're just trying something at catcher. And the Dodgers signed Tommy Conley, we all know the Dodgers in previous years. Joe Kelly is a project from the Red Sox who wasn't the most consistent. Blake Trinan, the former Nationals and the A's closer, they brought him back as a reclamation project, and they brought back Brandon Morrow, who was their closer, who was helping close out games for them, who hasn't been healthy with the Cubs last year. Tommy Conley, when he was with the White Sox and the Yankees, was good. Then he blew out his arm and missed time. So basically, what it is that even if he doesn't start the season with them and doesn't pitch most of the season, if at the end of the season, Blake Trinan, Joe Kelly, let's say, and Brandon Morrow and Tommy Conley are healthy enough to help contribute to the second half of the season and the playoff, that will really help them defend their title because when Tommy Conley's healthy, he's a very good pitcher. A's have lost Daniel Megan to Korea. They got rid of him, the mustachioed pitcher. Good luck to you in Korea. And the Tigers signed Jose Ureta. And when he was healthy with the Marlins, he was their best pitcher. But then Sandy Alcantara passed him up. They even pitched him out of the bullpen. It will really be helpful to the Tigers, who, again, Matt Boyd is their best pitcher, and their next two best pitchers, Fulmer and Norris, can't stay healthy. And they finally have rid of Zimmerman's contract that they definitely just need bodies to pitch. And when healthy, Arena's going to be really good for the Tigers. And Tigers, again, we know they're not made the playoffs, could always flip Jose Arena to a team that actually really needs the pitching that will help them immediately. It's just for the Tigers right now, it's just for them to fill innings. And then a big trade did happen, actually. And you're like, okay, it's the Christian holiday, Christmas Eve, all of that stuff, and you're just like, okay, can anything actually happen? Well, Josh Bell of the Pirates, who we all know haven't been good in a couple of years, and they've been selling off pieces recently in the past, and the best player, Gregory Polanco, doesn't stay healthy, so they haven't been able to dump him. They've had this issue where they have too many infielders that can play shortstop and second base, so you say maybe one could play third, but you got Colin Moran. Colin Moran couldn't play first base if you got Josh Bell, so last year when they had a DH, they back and forth switched over who was DHing. And they played some infielders in the outfield like Cole Tucker. And they keep Brian Hayes at third base, so what are you going to do if there's no DH? You got so many guys. So they traded Josh Bell to the Nationals, who had Eric Thames last year, Asdrubal Cabrera, Howie Kendrick, who we mentioned before, all split time at first base, with Ryan Zimmerman opting out of the season. Now, it doesn't close the door on Ryan Zimmerman coming back, but if the National League gets a DH, Bell's not the world's greatest fielder, so he could DH or platoon with Zimmerman back and forth, and that will help out. But yeah, they traded two prospect pitchers, Will Crow and Eddie Yean, So maybe the Pirates, again, build up their farm system by getting 2 young pitchers and trade Josh Bell, who may have had a down year this year, but hey, the dude was a slugger in 2019. He's consistently hit 20, 30 home runs before he was an all-star. So, and Juan Soto's finally going to have a cleanup hitter to protect him in the lineup because Soto's batted second, third, and fourth. They're just trying to figure out what they got to do because when you lose Harper and Rendon back-to-back seasons for the Nationals, they didn't really have a cleanup hitter. So Juan Soto, who won the batting title, led the league in all these other things, if he's batting third, Trey Turner's batting leadoff, and you got Josh Bell batting cleanup, ooh, oh man, that's going to really help their lineup there, and it may help them maybe be back to the playoffs because their lineup will actually be respectable. Thanks for listening to another edition of MLB Hotstove Week 5. For On the Radar Tape Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.